right, we ready? No?
Are you ready?
Unless you want to be Josh. Sorry. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Big crowd. For those that are outside, if you can hear me getting food still, we got some seats in the back. Probably can't hear me anyway. But. Anybody else in the back? He's our bar runner here. I always like to start with the show of hands. How many are the first time here? And then we'll do some introduction. Wow, this is pretty good. Welcome. Do you all know why you're here, or did you just show up for the free food? So for those that don't know, my name is Shane Terpstra, the Director of Safety for the club. Dave Eby over here. Greg's just sitting down. He's the president of the club. And there's several board members all around here that I'm sure will introduce themselves if they haven't already. This is our biggest turnout by far every year, and it's only made possible by the gracious men and women here that are graced us with their time. So I'm going to do a quick introduction for everybody. I'm just going to run down, tell you who all is here, and then I'm going to turn it over. I guess we'll start over there with Dan. And then we'll go this way. So basically, if you haven't been here before, the way this works is I give them a chance to tell us all what we do wrong every day. That usually lasts until tomorrow. And then after that, we'll open it up to questions. And this is a big crowd, so we'll try to get as many questions as we can answered. And then if they're not scared, then maybe they'll hang out after the meeting. So with that, and then I'll get out of the way. So we have Dan from SoCal, and they can introduce themselves as well, so that they can do themselves more justice than I can. Everybody knows Rob probably because Rob's been here a lot. And then we have Chris from Gillespie, and Mike from San, and I'm sure he's going to be, we put him in the middle because everybody's going to ask him the question that everybody wants to ask him. And the answer is no. We have Josh from, or Joshua, which do you like better? Josh, good, okay. From Montgomery. Morgan from Ramona, who just got off work and drove down here, so special thanks to her. Mark from Brown, so yeah. He gets the same reaction every year. And then we have Brandon, who is from Montgomery, no, just kidding, Palomar. Just went back there. Hey, that's what I'm here for. All right, so let me make sure this guy's on. It's on? Cool. And then take it away, Dan.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me here. My name's Dan. I'm from SoCal Tracon. I work mainly in the Burbank area, so a little bit further north of here. Unfortunately, your San Diego representative, Conway, had a confliction tonight, so I am a substitute stand-in for him. I've been at SoCal Tracon for about 13 years. All of my time has been in the Burbank area, although recently I've stepped up to do some airspace stuff. So I'm slowly starting to learn the rest of the county that I actually live in. I was at Los Angeles Center for about 8-9 years before that. So I've been doing this for a little over 20 years. A lot of approach control, no tower experience, but it sounds like we got plenty of those here. So.
Sorry, I'm just going to pull up a quick thing. Good evening, everybody. Thanks again for having me. It's been several years now, probably close to a decade that I've had the opportunity to come out and speak with our partners in airspace. If you don't know who I am, Rob Reddick. I'm at SoCal Tracon. I've been there 18 years last month. I'm almost eligible to retire. That'll get into a whole other conversation.
Did you get paid?
Do I get paid? Sometimes. We are currently getting paid, yes. Those who get the opportunity to come out the second time that we usually present here from just SoCal Tracon, if you don't know, Southern California is
the busiest approach control airspace,
or busiest airspace below 15,000 feet in the world, by far. Just a quick number for you so you understand. SoCal TRACON did 2.23 million operations fiscal year 2025. If you throw in all the facilities from Santa Barbara to Vegas down the Colorado River, this little tiny chunk of the world, 9.3 million operations last year. And I just want to throw that out there to you guys because I'm sure there's going to be some constructive feedback for us tonight on why we don't have the opportunity to accommodate everything that everybody wants every single time. And that number alone should sit heavy on you. We just cannot accommodate everything if everybody wants to take off between 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday. It makes things very challenging. But we're here for you to ask those questions. Dan and I will stay as long as we need to. I know everybody else is here. Just what Shane said also, the vast majority of us here on this panel are here on our own time to show you guys how much we are here to be committed to be your partners in airspace. Because our number one goal, no matter what it is to get every single one of you from point A to point B safely first, efficiently second. I cannot stress that enough. Safely first, efficiently second. Thank you.
My name is Chris Maravich. I'm from Gillespie. Unlike my bald brother next to me, I don't have a speech set up like that. We have nothing to claim at Gillespie.
Montgomery's the busiest airport. They're the busiest SoCal. We're just in the middle of 2 Bravos that don't get releases until there's no one else around. I've been at Gillespie for 12 years, but I will be going to Montgomery in 2 months, so I get to start training again, just like many people here. I'm going to be learning a completely different airport, well, it's kind of same airspace, but I'm here more to answer questions. I love questions. Go ahead, bring anything that you got, and thanks.
So if you say 27, we're going to know who you are.
Oh, you'll go Gillespie. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Warfel, aka the Grim Reaper, because last time I was here, it was no more taxiway deltas. And the question this year is, why are there no more offshores? And we'll start off that it's 3 letters, DCA. Every facility in the country has people from regional levels coming and investigating every single helicopter operation across the NAS, whether it's Seattle to San Diego to Miami, Miami to Maine. We're all getting scrutinized, and helicopter operations are the start of the catalyst of VFR operations, and then VFR operations in Class Bravo are significantly frowned upon. It's not just you. There's no more T-34s from the Navy. There's no H-60s. There's no Coast Guards offshore unless they're on rescue missions. There's no law enforcement activity offshore unless there's everybody. It's not just you guys. We're not trying to single out VFR aircraft, IFR. They just said no. And we asked, well, how do we fix this? And that was the answer, is this silence. We asked, how do we make this work with the parameters we have? Because we have to have the proper IFR separation with our departures. We have line of sight separation that we can use, but the moment you go behind Point Loma, well, that don't work no more either. And then they're like, well, how do you have them in sight? Well, we don't. Well, then how do you ensure radar separation? We can't. Because you get too low, we lose radar coverage. So then the next question back to us was, how do you maintain separation? Back to this silence. So we asked, we've been doing it for decades. It's beneficial to the community. Answer was, don't do it. There's potential via routes, because it was never a published route, that it may potentially come back in the future. But that's not any time. I have 4 or 5 more of these question and answers before that happens the way the government moves. So unfortunately, being the bearer of bad news, is you either have to go 3,300 feet over the VFR corridor to get across, go further offshore to get around the Bravo, or go east. Because if you're trying to cut through, and right now there's one operator that's trying to get fancy and do a zigzag through the airspace, and they're getting handled in a not pleasant manner. So don't try to skirt the rules or come up with something on your own, because we've all seen it all. So I'm very sorry to be the bearer of bad news again. You know, if we could have you, we would. But unfortunately, we keep getting busier. More IFR aircraft. As you all probably well know, new terminal. Southwest ramped up. Southwest and Alaska are in a head-to-head match of who can add more flights per day, every day. And unfortunately, there just isn't this time, space, energy anymore without the proper staffing and manpower to handle it all, as Rob say, safely first and then efficiently. So sorry to be the bearer of bad news again, but if you have any other questions besides offshores, because unfortunately that's all I can tell you about offshores, then I'm here to help, but hopefully in about half a decade I'll have better news for you. So passing it on.
Hey, Josh Burdett, Montgomery Tower. I've been a controller for about 8 years. Been in Montgomery for 6 years next month. Best airport in the world. Best flying community in the world. I've been a +1 member for a long time too. I love this club. I'm here to answer questions, whatever you guys need. I don't have a big spiel or anything like that. Just keep doing what you're doing. Feel free, ask me any questions here. I'll hang out afterward, ask me any questions there, whatever you guys need.
Hello, Morgan from Ramona. I was at Brown before I got to Ramona for a long time. And then I was at Ramona for a while, took 6 years of leave, and now I've been back for almost 4 years. I'm just really here to answer any questions. Either I don't have a speech prepared, but I know Mark here does, so I'll give it to him now.
Mark from Brown. It's not a speech. I have some things. Saw a lot of new faces here. I saw the hands raised. So I've been in control for about 33 years. I know I don't look old enough. I am. Most of that in the Marine Corps, retired out of the Marine Corps, and then went to Brown, and I've been there ever since. I've been at Brown for 17 years, the last 11 as the manager. Just a few notes, less than usual. It's usually several pages. You would be the arbiter of it, but I feel like things have gotten better at Brown. I'm the first one to admit. Thank you. There's a thumbs up. First of all, I got less booze. I heard one, but I think it was one of these people. 2 years ago, everybody booed. If I had feelings, it would have hurt them. Yeah, well, there you go, yeah. So, just a few things. Obviously, what was said earlier, safety first, right? I am the way I am because my job is to go to work and make sure everyone gets home safely. I'm not there to make friends. I don't know most of you. The ones that I've met, I like. I think they like me. I don't know. The guy who buys beers, I like. But I'm not there to make friends. When I'm on position, I'm there to keep you safe, right? That's safety first, like he said. If I get a little terse or upset, look at yourself, right? Blame me. It's fine, but look at yourself. Like, what did I do? Like, and I'm there to educate. I'm not there to violate. I don't like writing people up. I'm there to educate, and I will educate you over the frequency if I have to. I may have you call the tower. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm writing you up or anything. I just want to talk to you because, well, and here's a good tip. If I yell at you on the frequency, I'm probably not going to write you up because I don't want to send that audio to anybody. Okay? So we can go from there. Everything starts with communication, right? So when you call into the tower, just do it right? Tell me who you are, tell me where you are, tell me what you want, and tell me you have the ATIS. And even if you tell me you have the ATIS, if you say it early, I'm probably going to ask you again because the ATIS is a big thing. You come to my airport, or you leave my airport, you don't have the ATIS, you go to 5 other airports, and at the end of the evening, 12 hours later, you have an incident, and they're going to track it all the way back to Brown, and they're going to say, did he have the ATIS when he left? No. Now I'm partially responsible for whatever happened 12 hours later. So FA wants you to have the ATIS. I want you to have the ATIS. I'm going to ask you. I may ask you twice. If I tell you to report somewhere, Pogey, the prison, maybe the 805, whatever, one, if you don't know where it is that I'm telling you to report, don't just keep flying. Ask. All right? If 99% of the time we're going to tell you to go to the prison if you're coming from the north. Sometimes I'll send you to Pogey. There's usually a reason for that. If you don't know where Pogey is, or your student doesn't know where Pogey is, and you end up at the prison because that's what you always do, you're probably going to be in front of something that I was trying to get you behind, right? So I'd rather fix it at the beginning. If you don't know something, don't be afraid to ask. Ask. Keeps us both out of trouble. Tell me what you want. If you say you're inbound for landing, landing is a full stop landing. So I'm going to clear you to land. If you get on short final after I've cleared you to land and you've read back clear to land and then you say we want to touch and go, you're going to hear the decibels rise, right? Because there's a separation issue. You're supposed to be a full stop. My separation changes if you're a touch and go, because now you're going to be a departure very soon, and maybe I don't have room for that. So you might just get the full stop, or you might get sent around. Just tell me what you want, and we'll make it work. And if you're doing touch and goes, and then you ask for the option, I don't like options. I like to know what you're doing. And if I ask you why you want the option, the worst possible answer in the world is, we're going to do a touch and go, but we want the option in case we have to go around. No. I've heard it. I've heard it several times. Ask for the touch and go. If you need to go around, go around. If you're training somebody and you just want to see how your student does with the go around, it's even better if you just ask for the touch and go, and then at the last minute you say, okay, go around, right? Everyone's surprised. That's great. Good training. But But yeah, just tell me what you want and we'll make it work. Let me see. Okay, if you're doing a practice approach, if you're coming down on the VOR, when the TRACON tags you up on the STAR system, right? They put things in what we call the scratch pad. So I know that you have a follow-on approach to Montgomery or a follow-on approach to Gillespie, right? It's indicated to me on the pad, and that's why I'll say, report over Pogey making a left turn to the northeast. If you want something else, that's the time to tell me, right? Some of you want to circle and do a touch and go. So when you check in and I say, report Pogey making the left turn, say, we'd like to circle for a touch and go. And I'll see if I can fit it in. It's not a guarantee. It's almost a guarantee that if you report over Pogey and then tell me you want to touch and go, you're probably not going to get it. Because I haven't made the hole for you, right? If I have other traffic, there's just nowhere to put you. So what you want as early as possible. Does everyone know what a square turn to final is? Because history would tell me that some of you don't. Obviously, you have two runways if you've been to Brown, right? The big runway, the big guys get when they're there, and you guys go to the little runway. So we take you over the prison. It keeps you outside the base leg, and that's part of the reason for taking you to the prison. If someone's going to be cutting inside of you to go to the big runway, and we're taking you to the little runway, we may ask you to square your turn to final, so that you continue southbound and you turn in for 26 left. We've told several people to do that, and they kind of beeline it from the prison to 26 left, right? Cutting through the base leg for 26 right, defeating the entire purpose. So talk to your students, make sure they know what it means. I'll go back to an earlier point. If I say something that you don't understand, please ask the question and don't just assume. He said square base, I don't understand it. I'll just go to the numbers. Don't do that. Flight following. I'm sure someone will mention flight following because it's big. We're happy to do it. Ask for it on ground before you taxi out. Be specific. We had one, I was told to ask this by some of my controllers. We had one 2 days ago. We asked, he wanted flight following. We asked what his destination was, and he listed like 4 airports. And I want to do this approach to this airport, this approach to that airport, and then that approach to that airport. Cool. Sounds like you're going to have a good day. I can only do flight following to the next destination. And everything else you can talk to the guys on the in the dark rooms on the screens about. Also, and the last point, I swear. Last point, 1 page. Wait a minute, I missed something. Oh, yeah, so I'll go back. I'll circle back. One other thing before I go to my last point. I swear I won't talk all night. Had a person land They came in IFR. I was pretty sure they were just going to be a taxi back. Maybe they're going to go get a sandwich at the restaurant. I don't know. So they exited the runway. I crossed them. I said, say intentions. We'd like to taxi back to runway 26 right. Okay. And they taxied back and they sat there for like 10 minutes and then they said, hey, can you file a flight plan for us? It's a small point, but if I say intentions, I mean like long-term intentions. Taxiing back to the runway, okay, but then what? Like, I don't want to have to pull it out of you. I want to taxi back to the runway, IFR clearance back to Montgomery or Gillespie, or we're going to depart VFR to the north. Because if you're IFR or if you want flight following, when you're sitting at the run-up for 10 minutes, if you told me before you taxied there, we're ready to go. If you tell me there and I'm busy or something else has come up, then you're going to wait longer, right? So it's not a huge deal, but it helps move everything along. Just tell us, if I say intentions, I mean like over the next 20 minutes, not like right now. And then we always ask for the direction of departure. We have 2 sectors with the TRACON that kind of cover our airspace, West Sector or South Bay, depending on who's there, and the East Sector. So when we say direction of departure, especially on a flight following, it's so that we know who to switch you to at the TRACON for flight following or whoever, whatever. North is not a good answer. I'm on the border. So unless you're going to Mexico or you're going to circumnavigate the world and come all the way back around, you're departing to the north. Everything is north from Brown Field. Northwest out to the coast is one sector, and then if you're going to depart the downwind and go up to like Otay or up the lakes, that's northeast. That's a separate sector. So we're asking for a reason. So just be specific and everything will be good. And then no one ever asks me questions, but I'll be around for questions at the end. Oh, wait. Sorry. I lied. One more thing. Our company, RVA, new company, used to be Serco, now we're RVA. Some good, some bad, whatever. But user satisfaction surveys. So I'm going to have a bunch of them here. I'll leave some. You can make photocopies of them. I know. It's bold. It's a bold move. I heard the wow. It's okay. I'll say this. You know, I'm leaving them here. I'm not saying write good stuff. I'm not saying write bad. Write what you feel. I will say this, though, because I've done it. It's very easy to go somewhere, a store or a grocery, whatever, restaurant, and something bad happens, and I'm going to call the manager, you know? So obviously, if something bad happens, I can fill out a survey. Go ahead. It's fine. But also, like, if something good happens, like if we do something good, there's one lady that comes down all the time, don't know who she is, don't remember call signs. When you leave my airspace, I don't care anymore. But she always wants to do the spiral down, right? She wants to come into the overhead and do 2 spirals down into the downwind and do an engine off landing all the time. We accommodate that 99% of the time. That's a good thing that we do. I would love it if I knew who she was and she would fill one of these out. So if we do something good, yeah, fill one out, you know? If we do something bad, it's fine. If we do something bad, and I've got a couple of business cards, you can take a copy of it or take a picture, or there's 3, so first 3 get them. So I take my job seriously. If we make a mistake or if there's a misunderstanding, I would like to discuss it with you. And we can't always do it on the radio. You can call the tower, we can talk. You can fill one of these out and send it. I will say this, if it's something that I would want to go listen to the audio report on, or the recording, we only have them for 45 days. So don't sit on it and stew, because otherwise, after 45 days, I can't do my checks on my controllers and listen to what they said or what you said. So sooner rather than later, if you fill one of these out, it says it on here, but if you want to talk to me about something, name and number on the back, I'll call you back, right, and we can go through it. So I promise that is again now.
Sorry, I was just filling out my Yelp review on Brownfield. All right, I know some of you in here, not all, a lot of new faces. I'm Brandon, I'm from Palomar. You probably recognize my voice, but Palomar is fun. You guys fly out of Palomar much? I mean, most of the planes are down here, but who flies out of Palomar? Yeah, cool, right on. Yeah, you like it? All right, cool. So Palomar is neat because you guys have been there for what, like 13, 14 years now, I think? I remember when it started there and then kind of moved, and then now you've got that whole little corner over there by where it used to be Grey Eagle back in the day. But it's a neat spot, and Palomar's gone through a lot lately. Most importantly, though, is all the airline service now is back. So I think in this room we can all be happy about that, but in certain other rooms I've been in, not so much. But there's 2 airlines and a pseudo airline, which is the place, was really running the place, JSX. They're flying something like 10, 15 flights a day out of there now. It's really cool. So we have a ton of airline service, a lot of ERJs of one type or another, be it the 170s or 135s, 145s. So it's become really a jet airport. Now, back in the day, I've been at Palomar for 16 years as a controller, and I've been there as a pilot for, in July, 30. So I remember when it was a lot different out there. And it's really become a jet airport since then, which for the most part is pretty cool, as long as it's not at the cost of pushing GA out. But really, as I've seen +1 grow at Palomar, I think it's pretty cool because it shows that it has not forced GA out and that everybody can sort of coexist. And that's really the fun that I get to play with every day, is how to mix everybody together safely. So it is one of the busiest single runway airports in the world. And that's kind of, I think, the fun of it. We have a lot of trainees now, which wasn't the case for a while. So there's going to be a lot of new voices on the radio up there, too. A lot of training on our side, which the stuff comes in waves in the FAA. I will not get into why that is, but it does. So we have lots of training now, and it's pretty cool. So really one of the points to make this specific to you guys here at +1 is you guys are back behind the airline ramp. And that's kind of an interesting area because there's a lot of jets in there now, plus customs. So when they built that terminal, there was just 5 open gates sitting there with nothing at them. Now they're full all the time. And be it our 3 airlines or all the seasonal charters. So when you come around from that corner in the back, you might be nose to nose with something much bigger than you are. So what do? Because that's a non-movement area, which means we don't control it back there. Until you get up on Taxiway Alpha where that zipper line is, that is basically a parking lot, as long as you don't go in the secure area there. So we've kind of gone back and forth on what the right ways to handle that, but I think it works best if when you come out of your parking spot back there and sort of peek around the corner where we can see you from the tower, we'll just kind of tell you who you're going to follow at that point. We can't issue any control instructions till you're out on Alpha, but right back there, if JSX or somebody else is pulling out, we can really make it work better than not, because chances are JSX is going somewhere that has a flow window like LAX, well, not LA, but one of the Bay Area airports, Vegas, Phoenix, things like that. So it's been interesting, but to keep this +1 relevant, that's where you all are, behind the airline terminals. So we're open to feedback too, because as it gets bigger and bigger and there's more airliners kind of blocking you in, we want to make sure that that doesn't become an issue. And so far it's not, but we want to know if something does become that way. So other than that, I'm really just here to listen to questions from the pilot side or the air traffic side. I've been a CFI for 25 years as well. So I've been around San Diego for a long, long time, and any questions that anybody down here can't answer, or Palomar specific, I'm here. So thank you for having us.
You guys got anything else, or you just want me to open it up? Oh, don't give me that look, Rob. All right, we'll open it up for now. All right, we'll start with questions. Who wants to go first? Okay, Tom. What drinks do you want? I think is what he's going to ask. Yeah.
Hey, Rob, you guys always talk about this, but I think it's very important to just revisit it every time. So take off from Montgomery, maybe you're on the Foss transition northbound, and you clear Miramar's airspace northbound, and it is super busy. It's a auction on the radio, and you're not, but you always say you want to talk to us. And if I just stay right at that altitude, I'm going to go right through Escalon, right? I'm going right through the approach into, and there's all these Charlie Alphas out there circling around doing whatever they want to do. And what do you want us to handle that?
Are you getting flight following?
I can't, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can call us.
Did you? So the challenge with air traffic, and I don't mean to stand up, but there's so many people in here, and I don't want you guys not be able to see me. The challenge with air traffic is there's no rule that's really 100%, right? You will always hear me say, every opportunity you can get flight following from the ground up. We have phenomenal teams here at all these towers that can give you flight following from the ground up. It eliminates all the conversations in the air of who you are, where you're going, what are you doing, what type of aircraft are you. Because you have the Charlie Alphas, you have the Slings, you have all these different flight schools up there. You never know if the radios are working. You never know all these different things that in the sky are amplified 10 times on the challenges for us as air traffic to pick you up in the sky. And things are just happening so much faster in the sky than they are on the ground. Some of you really want to move really fast even on the ground. If we're slowing you down on the ground, it's because whatever's going on up there is already going at 10 times faster. You got to have that patience with us right now. Try to get flight following to the max extent possible everywhere you go, especially if you're going from point A to point B. Somebody mentioned earlier about IFR, or talked about pilots saying, hey, I want to go to these 4 different places. I've challenged every pilot in this room that has been here for the many years that I've been here. Has anybody found me a flight plan yet, an IFR one specifically, that goes from point A to point B to point C to point D? If you are setting up your flight to assume or expect point A to point B to point C, for whether it's a check ride, whether it's for funsies, whether it's for efficiency, or whether whatever it is that you need, you're setting yourself up for failure. I'm just being blunt honest with you. 2.2 million operations from the TRACON side, 9.3 million operations when you throw the towers in here in Southern California, below 15,000 feet really. You throw in all the terrain out here, you eliminate about half of our airspace below about 15,000 feet. Unfortunately, we have to start saying no. Not because we want to, but because we have to. Safety first, efficiently second. Please, if the controllers on the tower side or the controllers on the approach side say unable, trust us that we're doing it for one reason only, and that's for your safety. Now, play the pilot in command, play that game if you want. I know Mark mentioned at Brown Field. If we tell you to full stop land at Palomar Airport and you go around, it is an emergency on our end. Why? We told you to land. So now all we know is that you went around for a safety reason only. If you go around for a safety reason only, we need to know what that is for you, 1, or 2, who's behind you. Now you go around, you just did it, and you want to play the game. Fine. Well, guess what? This young man was at the hold short line, and his hole in the sky was that hole that you just took because you went around. If you don't know, an IFR airplane is a 6-mile hole in the sky. 1,000 feet above, 1,000 feet below, 6-mile hole. There's some other rules out there, but basically this is a massive hole. I talk about a blowfish, or I'm sorry, a pufferfish, sorry, when I do my other presentation. But ultimately, you go from this little tiny hole in the sky to this massive hole in the sky when you're IFR. 6 miles, 3 miles off of each wing, and 3 miles off of the nose and the tail. It's a massive hole in the sky, so don't play that game. ATIS, we've talked about practice approaches. If you call us and you say you're ready for a practice approach, you should already have the ATIS. Period. What's the first thing we always ask? What's the ATIS? As Mark mentioned, it is the number one thing the FAA comes after to make sure that you have the most up-to-date weather. I'm going to make sure I talk longer than Mark tonight, just so for the record.
I'm going to hold this microphone hostage over here.
So make sure you have the ATIS. Why is it important? Every single fatal accident in Southern California, air traffic control was talking to the airplane, had weather involved with it. If you're not comfortable in weather, stay home. If you are trying to be in a hurry during weather, stay home. Please, all we want to do is get you home safely. And weather is the number one contributing factor to that not happening out here, at least in Southern California and across the NAS. Weather is the number one contributing factor to that. Mark talked about his traffic. Tijuana is the fastest growing airport in all of Mexico. Why do you guys care? If you're IFR going out of Brownfield, we have to sequence both airports. They're less than 3 miles from each other. Tijuana has a team that has already gone out there to start a second runway in Tijuana. That's how fast they're growing. There's Dreamliners flying out of Tijuana. Some positive news, maybe for some of you, those who like to hide at French Valley after flying through the Class Bravo and not talking to us. From the budget 2 years ago, not last year's budget, but the budget in 2025 for fiscal year 2020, for 24, that was for fiscal 2025, so past about 18 months to 2 years ago, is money for a French Valley Tower. This is not the FAA's responsibility, though. It will be a county airport and also thermal. Both of them, please do your research on it, when it's supposed to happen. If you live in those areas, if you fly in those areas and you want your influence to those local governments, please do so. But French Valley, is my understanding, ran about 250,000 operations last year without a tower. So that makes Mark look bad. No, I'm just joking. Love you, Mark. I love you. Yeah, I think that covers my main stuff. And staffing. There's just a recent article. I'm going to quote it just so you don't quote me, and you can go look it up yourself if you want to. A recent article came out on govx.com. It says, according to the FAA's Air Traffic Controller Workforce Plan, and there's a link for it, the agency has roughly 10,730 CPCs, fully certified controllers. Only 10,730 in fiscal year 2024. And anticipated losing an estimated 6,874 between fiscal year 2025, which we are already in fiscal year 2026, and 2028. Due to the mix of retirements, attrition, promotions, transfers, and other reasons. The staffing crisis is a thing. There's no question about it. People in my building worked 800 hours of overtime last year. If we ask you to full stop, please just do it. Seriously, like, we're just trying to keep you safe. We're trying to hold on what we got at our facility. I know all the other facilities have their own challenges. Every facility around the country has their own challenges. We're all trying to do our best as aviation outpaces the staffing and what we have internally at our facility especially. So, yeah, I'll leave it there.
Hey, real quick, can I talk to his point? So, all right, you come up over Black Mountain on the Foss, right? And you're just going north, and you're like, all right, what now, right? I'm gonna cross. Yeah, I'm gonna cross Palomar at 3,000, 3,200, whatever exactly it is at ESCON, right? So it doesn't matter if you're 35; it's the same. So what do you do, right? You should call us. So just get a courtesy call, like, hey, I'm Black Mountain northbound on the 15, right? We work. I mean, our little hockey puck of Delta is nothing, right? But we're working 15 miles out all the time. I don't own that airspace, but you're VFR. I can talk to you out there, right? So if you're somewhere around Palomar, 10 miles or so, and you're going to cut across the final at 3,000, 3,500, something like that, give me a call, because I can just point that straight out to them. Like 3 seconds it takes me to do that, right? Yeah, they'll do it too. Yeah, exactly. So anywhere in that little crook of Valley Center right there, you can, I mean, we look that far out. My radar goes out to Black Mountain, all the way up to almost Palomar Mountain, and then down to just south of Del Mar Racetrack. So, I mean, all those transitions, like just a courtesy call is totally fine with that. And we can point them out to SoCal, no problem. And it's actually really nice because, like I said, when you've got, you know, a Gulfstream 6, a Global Express, an E-170, and then something else all about to get dumped on visual approaches and then coming straight in on the ILS, we've already got a plan for that, and I'm probably already wondering who you are anyway. So I might even be reaching out to you if you're on the frequency, just listen. But we have ADSB, I can see who you are, even if it wasn't written on your shirt. And, you know. That's right, exactly. So, hey, we'll tell next, hey, Palomar Towers, Bob Turner, right? Oh, Bob, I remember you. You want to go on the 15 at 3,500, don't you? Yeah. Anyway, no, we'll remember. So, yeah, just talk to us. We can easily point you out. And we have similar technology. I mean, 3 seconds, you're pointed out to SoCal, and we can just keep rolling airplanes right on through. So, yeah.
I'd like to add.
I'm going to give the microphone to Mark now.
I'm going to jump. I'm going to jump before that. I'll just give a piece of advice of Gillespie too and Montgomery. Actually, Montgomery's a little bit different. Don't cross 10 miles east of any airport at 3,000, 3,500 unless you really like talking to, like, We have people who want to go outside of our delta and cross our localizer delta 3,500 feet over Debbie or whatever. My piece of advice is if you're going to be within 10 flying miles of any class delta that has an ILS, a localizer, or any type of GPS approach, and you're going to be in that 3,000 to 4,500 range, I suggest just giving a call and saying, hey, because then we could just tell you, hey, I got an Embraer 145 at your 3 o'clock in 2 miles, same altitude. I suggest you turn or descend because approach could be talking to them. They're holding on because they won't switch a plane until they're clear of any conflict. So you're going VFR, talking to nobody. They're vectoring them around. I could be like, hey, I'm talking to that guy, and I'm going to make him do one left 360, one right 360. I'm going to descend him. I'm going to hold him at 3,500, hold your guy at 4,000. There's a lot of ways to avoid it. So if you're going to be in Gillespie, inside of Loveland, all the way to Crest at 5,000 to 3,000, just give us a call. And especially, and I'm not pointing out any of the slings here, but the slings love going off the left because it's a shorter taxi route. It's just quicker to get there. Everybody wants to go northeast. One of the worst things that I've found in my years is the surprise of we want to make a left downwind departure off of runway 27 left. You make a left downwind departure, and when you're 3 miles east of the field, you just cut north. Like you just make a sharp turn to El Cap at 3,000 feet. No one's expecting that. The north controller is not expecting it. The south controller is not expecting it. The guy in the localizer is not expecting it. So and this is just Gillespie. If you're going northeast, go to the right. If you're going southeast, go to the south runway. The worst thing you could do is just cross final like unexpectedly. At least that's my experience from my airport because there's always somebody on the practice approach coming in on the localizer delta at Gillespie. Just like I bet at Montgomery, like if you're going to Montgomery off of Gillespie, don't say you're going westbound or straight out. And then turn left after the 125 going direct to Lake Murray. I get it. Montgomery is west. I mean, Lindbergh's west too. I mean, if you really want to think about it. I mean, I get it. Just say we're going to Montgomery. Most likely, as long as I know what you're doing, you'll get good instructions. My to go to is after the 125 turn left, frequency change approved. Unless by pure luck, we have somebody on 27 left who's also going to Montgomery and they're going westbound or they're going to the coast. All of a sudden you're turning left. And the worst part is sometimes and I guess everybody who has parallel runways, is drift. I literally was in a plane 2 weeks ago flying and like I took over a little bit for controls and wherever I was looking is where I went. And I'm not a pilot whatsoever. I like, oh, look, there's something pretty. And then you just drift that way. I get it. Everybody wants to go to Montgomery and the 27 right drifts to the left. And now you're cutting off the traffic because you see that's where you want to go, Montgomery, and you don't want to fly into Fortuna. You kind of like want to split the Cowles Mountain and the Fortuna. Just let us know. If you want to go to Montgomery, and I know faster guys, you guys want them over Lake Murray because that's where they want to go. And we'll give it to you. We just need to know. We just don't like someone just turning left to Lake Murray when they're half a mile off the departure end because they're like, hey, can we get a frequency change early? Because we're thinking you want to talk to West or 19.6 for going out to the ocean. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, frequency change approved. Good day. And then you just click left. That's just my thing at Gillespie that. So if you're, just let us know what you're doing, especially if you're crossing finals. That's it.
One quick thing, and someone's got his hand up. Flight following. So, and I'm mentioning this because it happened like 2 weeks ago, literally to me. We'll put you in. When you get airborne, it takes a second, a couple of sweeps for you to tag up, right? So I need your target to acquire on the radar, and then I do an automated little thing on the STAR system and flash over to the sector at SoCal that you're going to. They have 5 miles to accept the handoff, right? In the last 10 years, I think they haven't accepted a handful of handoffs, right? They're going to take you more often than not, but you can't change frequencies until I tell you to change frequencies. And 2 weeks ago, I'm going to let it drag out to that 5 miles, and it got to the 5 miles, and I called that pilot to tell him, SoCal's busy, they can't take you, squawk, maintain VFR, and he wasn't on frequency. Tried again, he wasn't on frequency. I called the sector, like, hey, did he come to you? She was pissed. She said, yeah, he came to us. I didn't take it on purpose because I'm busy. I said, I didn't switch him. He switched on his own. She got really happy. She said, oh, okay, I'm going to have a chat with that young man. So, so 5 miles, right? Just be patient. We haven't forgotten about you. We're waiting for them. They're busy. They'll take the handoff. 99.9% of the time they're going to take it. But for that 0.1% that they don't, stay on my frequency, and then we will either switch you or we will disappoint you, sir.
So, Mark, are you saying then that if you get a squawk on the ground for flight following, there's a chance that SoCal can't take it?
Minuscule, but yes. Yeah, if they're saturated, I mean, I don't know how it is for all the other towers, but leaving us, you're going to go under or through the Bravo, right? You're going through some busy airspace to get wherever you're going. There is a chance that they won't take you. Again, in the last 10 years, a handful, maybe 5, that I've had to tell to maintain VFR. It rarely happens, but I need you on the frequency so that I can tell you if they're not going to take you. Or I will tell you to contact them. Don't do it on your own.
They call us usually, like, they'll usually take the last guy. They'll usually, like when they fly following from our airport, if they're getting saturated, they'll take that one last guy, and then they'll be like, no more fly following. They'll be like, that's your last guy. That's how it's always happened with us. I don't think I've ever seen a fly following denied. I've just seen them being like, that's your last one, and that's it. I mean, but then I won't, the guy next one who departs, because I'll be like, hey, they're not going to take you for fly following, say intentions at this point. Most of the time, you're just going to go VFR on your own. But I mean, they always tell us, I mean, I've never had them deny one in the air. Just deny them like, hey, that's it. And we get the same thing with practice approaches. Palomar just gets so busy. Everybody from Gillespie wants to run an ILS. Sometimes Montgomery's really busy. They'll just be like, the Del Mar sector, which is the sector that works up there, is just too saturated to take the ILS. See what their intentions are. And but yeah, they always give us a warning. It's very rare they'll cut off somebody who's already airborne and expecting it.
This is a perfect example of how every sector and every facility is very different. It's a much higher than minuscule chance out of Montgomery that SoCal won't take the handoff. It's not really high, but it is not minuscule. It happens basically daily. Depends how saturated sectors are. Depends how it's in the LOA that if you guys get 5 miles away from the airport and they haven't accepted the handoff, that we terminate you. Squawk VFR if it gets change approved. That's just how it works, and we often don't get warning. It's just a matter of whether or not they take the handoff. So not super high chance, but definitely not minuscule. So every facility is a little bit different, and that's a perfect example of how every facility is a little different.
So just to give you a little background from the approach side, just like at the tower side, things are changing by the second. So all it takes is for this young man to be in air and he's going into Palomar and he declares an emergency. All while this young man just took off from Montgomery and we're expecting to take him. And immediately it went from we can take you to we can't take you, or we can take you, we can't take you. Things happen that fast. To the maximum extent possible, if we know there's going to be some sort of staffing restrictions or anything like that, we can see that and we try to say, hey, towers, Gillespie Tower, starting on the top of the hour, there'll be no more VFR flight following due to staffing. We try to put that on the ATIS. But just know that things are changing in the air by the second based on what is going on. Go ahead. You can, just don't be too adamant. You know, listen to the frequency. That's the key. Whether you're getting flight following or not, never key up a frequency and just start talking. You need to. This is round 2. You need to listen to the frequency the whole time. You know, as soon as you key it up, listen to it and figure out what's going on. Remember, if you're getting flight following, we can see who you are, where you're going, what you're doing, so you don't need to key up right away. So if you get on there and one of us is just getting their butts kicked on the Burbank sector, Burbank, Van Nuys, Whiteman, just hang on. We can see you. We know you're there. Take a deep breath. We know you're coming. How many people have had SoCal TRACON reach out to you before you ever checked in and said, turn right heading 340? Because we know who you are, we know what you're doing, where you're going already, because you got flight following from the ground up. Is it 100%? No. Nothing in air traffic control is 100%. Not never, just like as a pilot, not never is it 100%. Any more on that?
He keeps mentioning emergency, and I can understand where a lot of people are like, well, how many emergencies can you possibly have? There's different severities of emergency. Like literally 3 days ago, we had an emergency as ATC side, but not as a pilot side. We had a pilot who was a student solo. The winds were quartering at 210 at 12, gusting to 15. He tried landing 27 right 4 or 5 times, couldn't do it. We tried to move him to runway 17. He couldn't do it. He did, nobody's here from Gillespie. He did 8 approaches or 9 before he finally landed. And mind you, he landed on the worst approach I've seen. Like the one I thought he was definitely going around, he actually put it on the ground, which is so impressive. He was over the numbers at like 200 feet and just like slid it down on 17, if you know Gillespie, and landed. So we were shocked about that. But what we did in the background was we told approach, like keep everybody of our airspace. Like if anybody's coming IFR or practice approaches, just give us 10 minutes to get this guy on the ground, because the last thing I want to do is have a IFR GPS 17 inbound because they don't know what's going on. Well, this guy's trying to land any runway that I could possibly give him. So what you may not hear on on your frequency is, but we're just kind of like working a hot emergency. We didn't declare an emergency for 1 or 2 reasons. He didn't declare an emergency. Now we're allowed to declare an emergency, but I don't know on the pilot's perspective, but the last thing I feel a pilot who's trying to land 7, 8 times is, hey, don't freak out, but we're just going to declare an emergency for you. Like, I don't think that's going to calm the person's nerves. So technically it's an emergency that's not an emergency, because we're going to treat it as an emergency in every which way that we can. I just don't want to put those words in your mouth, in your ear, saying like, hey, there's a problem. So there's a lot of things that could go on that can turn into an emergency, or like he said, like something you just don't know what's going on. So if they can't take, let's say if it was somebody fly following from Montgomery to us, and then like they won't take the handoff because you're trying to get to us, it might not be for any other reason where we're just like, don't bring anybody here. We're full stopping everybody, and we're just trying to resolve an issue for the next 5 minutes. And it sucks because you could have got denied, and then 2 minutes later, somebody gets a handoff for fly following. It's like, well, why did he go and not me? Well, we resolved an issue in 2 minutes. That guy got down. It just happened to be timing.
Go ahead. It was Shane. All day, every day. Honestly, in our airspace, there's planes everywhere, all day, every day. There's just planes everywhere all the time. How many people in here think that we give priority to air carriers over the general aviation? It's okay. Raise your hands, John. Here's the truth. The vast majority of our airspace below 10,000 feet, air carriers are doing about 250 knots until they're established on final. Not just air carriers, corporate jets. Anybody in here flying a corporate jet or a turboprop of some sort? They're doing about 250 knots. That's their speed restriction below 10,000 feet. Miramar has no speed restriction. All the military has 0 speed restrictions below 10,000 feet. So if you see an F-35 going into Miramar and they're doing 500 knots. We actually saw one go across the scope about 650 today with the tailwind. So that's why I said that. But if you see one of those aircraft, here's the problem. Does anybody in here fly an air carrier or a regional jet? John. Not John. Anybody else? Gulfstream. If I asked you right now, traffic alert, 12 o'clock, 2 miles, make a right 360 immediately, what type of space would that take you to do that? 10 miles. 10 miles. Don't take this from an air traffic controller. Talk to your other pilot friends. A corporate jet takes 10 miles. Think about that from Southwest. If a general aviation aircraft that refuses to talk to ATC, that knows the Class Bravo airspace in the Lindbergh is hanging out on the east side of Lindbergh because we forgot the angle that airplanes take off and land, and we have to spin a 737. What kind of space does that take? Now, those of you guys fly north of Oceanside, think about that going to LAX. We don't even, I mean, we do have some big airplanes going to Lindbergh. In the LAX, we have the Super, the Airbus 380. You know how many miles it takes for an Airbus 380 to make a 360? 20 to 30 miles. This isn't about us saying Southwest has a priority over you guys. This is about what are their capabilities below 10,000 feet. They have very, very little. You guys, on the other hand, 250 knots still there on final, and then they start dropping their gear, and they obviously slow all the way back. And if you're a corporate jet, you go back to 110 on me, 20 miles from the airport. It drives me nuts. But that's just what it is. But honestly, there's zero flexibility with those type airplanes below 10,000 feet, where the vast majority of you guys are. So for us, from the approach side, get them in and get them down. I tell this story before. I worked Long Beach Final and John Wayne's Final. I had a general aviation aircraft, make a right 360 for me for JetBlue going in. And he said, okay. And it was Shane, and he just, and he did a 360 in like a 1 mile radius. I said, okay, that was cute. Do it again. And, and he laughed, I laughed. We all knew what was going on there. But that just spoke to the capability. The God honest truth is you guys that are general aviation in this room are air traffic control's best friends below 10,000 feet. Not because we're trying to penalize you, because you have the capability to help us prevent an imminent situation immediately versus a 737 or a corporate jet or anything bigger. So please try to change that mindset. We're not giving them priority. We're not trying to give them anything more than you guys are getting. They just can't do anything below 10,000 feet. So the goal is to get them in and get them down. They got a hole 6 hours ago coming from New York that they planned on coming here and landing. The last thing I want to do is spin them. Lindbergh Airport is the busiest single runway air carrier operation in the country. And we're not even done with the second half of the first terminal. Orange County is the fastest growing passenger facility in the country. They're working more operations than LAX right now on every third day. Okay? We're not trying to penalize anybody. We're just trying to work together as a team. As a team. We are all on the same team. We have a phenomenal team here. You guys have a phenomenal team here, and partners in this airspace. We do incredible work together, but we have to be patient with each other.
When Lindbergh switches runways to opposite the landing from the west, what does that do to GA to the towers?
Nothing. That's what the Class Bravos are built for, to protect for all that. But whether it's a Class Bravo or Class Charlie, if you see it on that chart and you go, well, I see John Wayne's especially, I'm going to just fly that 91 freeway on the north edge of it, or the Class Charlie at Burbank or Van Nuys, planes are popping in and out of those airspaces from all over the place. And this is why we want flight following the whole way. It's very predictable to us. If we have two airplanes talking to each other versus one not and the other one is, an air carrier and a GA, we're looking at a minimum of 350 knot closing speed. Minimum. You think about it with some of you guys have some fancy little airplanes. Some of you guys are doing 250 across the ground, and your RV9s, your Turbo Centurions, all these fancy, which is awesome. I think that's incredible that you guys have those planes. I mean, people are flying these Vision jets and Phenom jets at VFR, not talking to ATC. That's a 500 knot closure speed below 10,000 feet with an air carrier. When you stop and think about that, is it really worth you getting there 5 minutes earlier by not using ATC services just so you don't have to talk to anybody and maybe get a vector? I think that we can all make an argument and say it's not.
Yeah, so my question is for Mark, because you never get to ask questions, and then Rob and Chris, and just generally to all of you. Since the last time we got together here a year ago, what is the dumbest thing that you have seen?
When did you fly last?
That'll be... No, I mean, we're not going to call people out, that's for sure. I will tell you that over 90% of what is deemed air traffic control significant events here in Southern California are started with pilots making mistakes, pilot deviations. If you are IFR, it is imperative that you do exactly what you were supposed to do. If you come off of Montgomery and you were supposed to go straight out on a departure and you turn right, you're below our minimum vector altitude, it's a significant event and we have to report it up. The amount of pilot mistakes that are being made, especially under IFR rules, is unbelievable. I mean, I'll be honest with you. And we're seeing it whether it's a Skyhawk all the way up to air carriers. I mean, you guys probably saw in the news where the corporate jet from the South Complex of LAX turned and almost ran into the, not almost, but I mean turned towards the aircraft off the North Complex. That makes absolute zero sense to an air traffic controller how we ever got there. Absolute zero sense. But then we're put in a position that you're in emergency, we have to separate the two of you and it immediately becomes the priority. Well, guess what? While I'm dealing with that, your VFR flight services are gone because I got to figure that out immediately. So, and then that's how things happen fast. Please, everybody in this room expects every one of us to come to work and be 100% of the time. Does anybody disagree with that? Right? 100% of the time. Everyone up here expects you to be 100% of the time. To get their itis is not a friendly thing. Cutting corners, whether you're a brand new student pilot or whether you're an instructor pilot because you just want to build hours as fast as possible so you can move on to the air carriers, or whether you're a 40-year pilot that's been flying around and you're just going out there. Never once cut a corner when you get in that airplane and start moving. Please, we just want to get you there safely. That's all we want to do.
So,
yes.
I see a lot of people in my planes doing, particularly in our parklands, Montgomery to Orange County. Would it be better for them to say Montgomery to Long Beach?
Yes, 100%. Long Beach is a much better option for, Long Beach only has restrictions when it comes to jets on their amount of departures, planned departures and arrivals for the day. But Long Beach is actually very, very busy, but they have less passenger jets. It's a lot more GA in the pattern. Who? Long Beach? No, Long Beach is. You bring up a great point. Yes, we are in the process. Dan's in the process. He's our procedures lead. We are in the process of pursuing a Class Charlie at Long Beach. We are also in the process after that of pursuing a Class Charlie at Van Nuys to extend the Burbank one, and we are also in the process of pursuing a Class Charlie at Palm Springs. To every person in here that does not agree with that and it has a little bit of upset stomach, it's strictly for safety. We have the data and we need it to keep you safe. We're going to sit in our chairs and do what we do. It's you guys that we're trying to get home safe each and every single day. So Long Beach is number one. We'll see where that ends up at. By the time we get the other ones, we'll see. But they are discussions that are being had. Long Beach is currently already, or Ontario's the one, Ontario and Chino's already out for public discussion. Long Beach is in the very beginning stages, but those are absolute discussions that are happening for safety.
Real quick, before you go run off and say they're creating Charlies everywhere. We are looking at creating Charlies. We are very specifically looking at how to design these Charlies with the 1200 code pilot in mind. We are trying our very best to leave you space to fly where we know you want to by keeping you out of the areas where we don't want you. But we are working very hard at not creating just a standard upside down wedding cake, but we're creating, okay, you have your interior 5-mile shell and then creating specific arrival or departure areas to keep what we need safe and allow you to still have the freedom that you want. So we are very diligently trying hard to not just put out blanket airspace and then have it come back when it goes out for public review and everybody say, you can't do this. You know, we really are trying to think of you guys as we build this airspace.
So And since I was addressed, I'm going to respond. And like you said, I'm not going to call anybody out. Frank, I don't remember the call signs. When someone comes in and annoys me, as soon as you leave, it's gone, right? I don't hold a grudge. I don't remember call signs. I don't care. I care in the moment, and then the next time you come, it's brand new. But expectation bias is what I'm going to say is the dumbest thing that you see. So I'm down, we're near the coast, so there's always winds coming in from the sea, except when there's not, right? Sometimes we go runway 8, and you always come down and you always enter a base for runway 26, except when I tell you to enter the downwind or report bogey for 8 left. And it says it on the ATIS that we're on runway 8. And I tell you to expect runway 8 left. And this pilot entered a right base for runway 26 right, because that's what they always do. Despite the ATIS and despite the instructions and all the other planes that are going the other way. So that would be, quote unquote, the dumbest thing I see, right? And over the last few years, that expectation bias. When you go somewhere, you always do this, except when you don't, right? So you have to listen. Don't just listen to the ATIS code. Listen to the ATIS. Get the runway, at least. After that, you tell me you have the code and you kind of know what runway it is. I'm happy. If you don't have the rest, that's on you. But I need to know that you play the game. Tell me you have the ATIS and understand the runway that I'm assigning you. And don't just expect what you always get. Listen to what we're saying. Yeah, it's something else, but that's it. Good. Wait, that guy's had his hand up for a while.
I want to go back to either Chris Morgan or Brandon when you guys were talking about 10 miles out crossing the final on either. Would you like us to call up for 10-mile transition?
I personally, to me, I would. I don't mind it. If I can't get to. The Tracon, if you're just going from like around our airspace to go to Ramona or something, and you don't want to talk to Tracon, at least reach out to me and be like, we have all the time transitions over our field at 30. Hey, we want to transition at 3,500 over your field. Guess what? My airspace is 2,400. You're going over my airspace by 1,100 feet, asking for it. So I kind of like follow that same, like if you're crossing my localizer and at Loveland, it's 5,000 and it's descending 300 feet per mile, kind of like in that thing. If you know the airspace and you're going to be at that, I get the ADSB and I'm looking but I personally like it. Just like he says, like he'd rather be talking to someone than not talking to someone. I cannot tell you how many times approach control, too bad Conway's not here. It's like, are you talking to that guy in the localizer? Yeah, actually I am, or actually I'm not. We have a specific code that we put 4227, but the funny thing is, and I'm going to go back for 2 things after this, is I use it because that's an old code that I've known for many, many years. Now I'm going to just jump into one thing, and I said this at the last meeting at Gillespie a month ago, is Gillespie is probably the most heaviest training facility, I bet, in SoCal. We get the most trainees out of any facility, like fresh controllers. Right now, I just literally found out 3 hours ago, we're getting 3 new people. That's just something random, and they're coming in May. I got in 2014 at Gillespie. Yeah, I got in 2014. We have 20 people right now in my facility. There is nobody who was there at 2014 who didn't leave. At least one came back, but left that did not come back. So I have 19 new people plus the 20 that might have came and went over the last 12 years. My seniority date, taken aside, is I got into the agency in 2008. Number 2 in seniority is 2010. Number 3 in seniority at Gillespie, I think, is 11 or 12. Numbers 4 through 20 are no younger than 2018, 2019. I have 6 CPCs right now that have less than 18 months experience. Controllers, fully certified controllers that have less than 18 months experience. It's just the way Gillespie is. People use us as just like a touch and go in an airplane. They use us as a touch and go. We are now considered one of the largest feeder facilities in the country. We have a wonderful success rate because we have a lot of good trainers. We have a mix of traffic. We call ourselves a mini approach control because you guys come from everywhere. We got a mix of fast guys, slow guys. We have, I don't think I see him. We have planes that we call trainee killers because you're coming in at LCAP at 250 knots and like, they're like, oh, just put him in number 3, and like, no, it's not how it works. I literally was on that plane, and it was kind of funny because I literally, as a being in the seat, I did a play-by-play of literally what was happening. Quick story: we were over LCAP. I actually called in. I have Information Bravo. We're in for the overhead with Alpha for 27 right. And they're like, the controller was like, all right, report a 7-mile initial for right turns 1,600, runway 27 right. And I'm like, they put you on that because you're going 250 knots over LCAP and they cannot figure how to get you in. So the safest way is put you on a 7-mile straight in and see where you're going to end up. And I go, and then I'm kind of thinking who I left because I literally just left the tower. And I'm like, if I have a feeling who's on the CIC in the back room, you're about to be told, go as fast as you can, go direct to the numbers for the initial. Not even 3 seconds later, turn direct to numbers, report an initial, because there's such a mix, and we're kind of like working in approach control, a mini approach control. So bear with us at Gillespie, at least, with constant change and people always training and always learning. Montgomery's a little bit different now because they've turned into a level where they only really take previous experience and transfers. But in the San Diego area, it's either Palomar or us. And I had a side note about that that non-emergency emergency of the 8th. One of the things, because I was sitting in the desk and not working the plane, was I looked on my clipboard to call the flight school because I'm like, I can hear this person was freaking out. He could not land his plane. My suggestion, and I don't know how Montgomery is have an emergency contact that's like a chief pilot or something, because I called up and all I got was a voicemail. Hi, we're not here to answer your call right now. When I really needed like someone to be like, hey, your pilot's up there freaking out. We can only do so much as ATC. Is there someone who can talk him down? We actually keyed up the frequency on ground, and I'm like, key up ground, see if there's a pilot from his school. Is there any blah, blah, blah pilots on the ground? His actually chief instructor was doing a pre-flight check and was just listening. So he actually got on our frequency and was doing ground to air, guiding him down. My suggestion is, like all your schools, have an emergency contact that's kind of like a 24/7 person, because it would be great to be able to call that number and go, hey, I got November 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's in your school, can't get down. We need to figure something out. Like, guide him down, because we don't have pilots. Like, I can't fly the plane for him, so, but he guided him down pretty good. So that's kind of like where I was going with that.
I can finish answering your question too on that. Anybody know how many ILSs there are in San Diego? There's 3. One at Palomar, one at Montgomery, and one to runway 9 at Windberg. So we'll take that out because you're not getting that. So there's 2 ILSs in San Diego County for you to train on, right? So if you get tired of Montgomery, where do you go? Palomar. You get tired of Palomar, where do you go? Montgomery. Okay, so here's the deal. At Montgomery, there is less of a chance, but still quite a bit of a chance that you could be circling around on, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 miles east of the airport at an altitude that's not really great for the ILS, right? But at Palomar, there's a really high chance you're going to be circling around out there because the 15 freeway, which you're probably following to go to French Valley or wherever else, cuts perfectly across ESCON, right? And you'd be at what, 3,500 going that way? Couldn't be wronger if you tried, right? So also, what if you're going to Ramona? What if you're coming out of Ramona? What if you're going to the Northeast practice area over Valley Center, right? So there's a lot of stuff happening out by ESCON. And in air traffic land, anything within like 3 miles, maybe 4 miles of that is a concern, right? So that's a lot of airspace up there that's used for a lot of training. So what we would recommend, I said earlier, I was like, hey, you can just give us a courtesy call at the tower, right? Hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm northbound, just coming out of the FOSS transition at Black Mountain or whatever. I'm just going up to 15 at 3,000. Cool. Or if you don't want to do that, or we're busy, you don't want to get a word in edgewise, if you're already listening to like, and you don't have flight following, of course, if you're already listening to the practice area frequency, right, 122.75, Well, when you're going up there, just type in 118.6. Just listen to that while you're kind of going by Palomar. And if we're reaching out to you, because just like every tower controller here is going to say, we have ADSB now. We can see who you are. So if you're crossing over a final at an airport, really anywhere, you should probably be either talking to or listening to that tower in case they're reaching out to you. And now we can reach out to you by name, not just, hey, the aircraft that's northbound on the 15 at 3000, are you on frequency? But I can just straight, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on frequency for traffic. If you're on frequency, turn right immediately and give you the traffic call, things like that. So even if you're just listening, just put it in COM 2, listen to that instead of 2275. Again, flight following is better. But if you came out of Montgomery, you're on a FOS transition, you go through there, they drop you, frequency change approved, good luck. Well, I mean, if SoCal's not going to pick you up, the towers are a really good asset for you, because we can help a lot. And we can, again, one button, I'm talking to the TRACON, I can point it out and do it with the automation instead of even talking to them. And then that way they'll know. Just like you said, there's codes we can put in, there's point outs we can do, there's verbal coordination. That's 3 ways I can do that in 3 seconds. So, it's really nice, because that way you can keep on moving through. You get a little bit of radar service, and then, airlines aren't getting delayed either. So you just be on the frequency sometimes is good enough.
A couple more questions. Anyone? Yes, sir.
So I keep hearing a lot of comments on doing flight following, and 2 parts of it. One, thank you guys for always being patient with us when y'all are going nuts and you got so much busyness, and we're just sitting there waiting for hold so we can queue in, and you, hey, are you up? Yeah, I'm just waiting for you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So thank you for always being patient with us. But I always get a lot of surprise when I tell people, if I go from one airport to another and it's not an extra flight plan, I'm going VFR flight following. And then people are like, really? I'm like, yeah. Why do you guys think that is so uncommon? Because I'm common that it seems to be.
You want to go first or me?
Yeah. You know what? To be honest with you,
I appreciate all the commentary saying, do this, because I appreciate it. I use you guys like it's going out of style.
There
thank
was
you,
a time.
first of all, and you have better hair than I've ever had in my whole life. Unfortunately, I don't think that we have had the opportunity to get to enough pilots from day one to build that trust. So too many pilots have gone their careers where they got used to not hearing from the partners in the airspace saying, this is what we want to keep you safe. We don't expect you to know the 10 miles outside of every single airspace. And when that came up earlier, I'd laugh because there's really no airport here that's not 10 miles from another airport, which just speaks volumes to the reason why you need to get flight following. How many folks in here are only VFR certified? It's okay. Raise your hands. Raise them proud. It's a great accomplishment. I won't do it myself. So, seriously, you only know at best 10% of what's going on when you're a VFR pilot, especially here in Southern California. The truth is, we're not in Kansas. We're not. And I say that very lightly, but if you're only VFR and you don't even know like an IFR approach into Palomar or even what it looks like, you should be getting flight following. I don't care what your instructor taught you. I don't care what the next instructor tries to tell you. Listen to us, because we're the ones trying to get you home safe. Too many times do we see pilots on a 1200 code go looking for help. And we don't know who you are, we don't know where you are, and we don't know how to help you. Because now, if you're a new pilot, if you're an instructor, I'm a father. If I went and taught my daughter how to fly and said, don't use ATC services, there's a lot of people who do that. And then I send her up there by herself, and she needs help. Did I set her up for failure? 150% I did. Why? Because instead of her saying, emergency, I need help, she's looking for help, versus being on frequency where these experts can help her. We had pilot go down, report going down over the flying cross years ago. Mayday, mayday, 1200 code, not talking ATC, I'm going down over the flying cross. Anybody know where that's at? Yep. Guess what? We don't either. How many of you guys fly to Avalon? Just be 100% honest so we can have an honest conversation. How many people fly to Avalon and do it on a 1200 code? It's okay. It's okay. And I'm not here to call anybody out. If something happens to you mid-channel, what is the expectation from ATC to help you? We're just hoping, right, at that point. That's not a position we want to be in. Versus, if you needed help, you're on our frequency, as you potentially do go into the water, I have him on frequency or him on frequency, and I go, I need your help now. I need you to go over that airplane. I need you to circle, and I need to keep an eye on them. Let us know where they're at. Let us know where they're going. We're going to get the Coast Guard here. There was that story out of Monterey. There was 2 planes flying together. They were together. One of them went down. The other buddy circled around him the whole time. They relayed to ATC. They got Coast Guard there, and they saved both of the people. We can't do that without your help. If you want to look at these stories over and over and over and over again, Archie League Awards on YouTube. Every year we have a safety event in Vegas. I know safety in Vegas. You go, oh, that's crazy. But we're normal people. Look it up. Look up those videos. If you don't believe me, fine. I'm okay with that. Go look up those videos. Every year we give out awards for the best saves in the country. Air traffic control assisted saves in the country. We're getting ready to have it in September. It's usually September. Go look it up. Take your student pilots out there. If your instructor taught you not to talk to ATC, go look it up yourself. I guarantee you have scrolling time available. Okay? We are your partners. We are your best friends in getting you guys home safe.
Hey, Rob, one of the most valuable things you told me at one of the other meetings was that even if I'm just going to go up for a joyride, I get
Sightseeing.
following.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, if you're not aware, we do what we call local flight following. We live in a beautiful city, Southern California, beautiful. Southern California TRACON, SoCal TRACON. We are the same controllers here in San Diego that talk to you from the Tijuana border all the way to Burbank, all the way to Palm Springs. It's beautiful out here. You guys pay a lot of money to live here. We get it. You just want to fly around sometimes. Just ask the towers, hey, I just want to go out for a local flight following trip up to the coast to Palomar or Oceanside. I want to turn around and come back. I'd like VFR flight following. To the maximum extent possible, we're going to provide that to you. To the maximum extent possible. It's not going to be 100%, but it's going to be to the maximum extent possible.
Do you ask for Bravo access, or do you fly below Bravo?
Depends on what you want. Do you care? I mean, do you need that or? It depends on. We don't care. We'd prefer you stay out. That's why it's a Bravo. But if you're asking, you can always ask for it. But don't be upset if we say no. If we say no, there's a reason for it. You're not going to get a Class Bravo clearance direct through LAX Class Bravo in the middle of the day. You guys laugh. I get that request on a regular basis. Hey, do you have the charts on board to go through the LAX Class Bravo? No, I don't have them. Really? Okay. All preventable. So just ask. It's okay. It's okay to ask. Don't be upset, though, if we say no. But we will accommodate you to the max extent possible. But you got to know that Lindbergh Class Bravo, the Miramar Class Bravo, they're firing off like they were at Miramar today. You're not going to go through the Miramar Class Bravo. You're not. Sorry.
One more in the back over here.
Might be a Montgomery question, might be a SoCal. So talking about the Bravo, the transition, so first is on the ramp, we ask for a FOS transition. Let's say FOS is closed at this time. So your Montgomery Tower has control, I guess. It's sending me up left 270 up over, and we just want to go to the northeast practice area. The question we got was, like, what's your destination, where you want to go? And I thought, I was with a student, and my thought coming to my head was, well, SoCal needs to know which direction we're pointing, so we know. We're just going to go to the practice area, and the practice area is asking us to identify what is a good.
Just tell us what general area you're going in a major landmark. So don't say, I don't know, Lakeside neighborhood. Don't say San Carlos neighborhood. Say it's
Valley
LCL.
Center.
Yeah, stick to the major landmarks on a VFR chart, if nothing else. I'm going to go 7 miles northeast of Gillespie. Perfect. I can see that on my map. We don't have all these small things. Again, we are all here in San Diego, but the vast majority are not from San Diego. So we run into this problem a lot with VFR airplanes talking to us outside of the San Diego airspace, and they report these I'm over this high school in Orange County. It's like, well, that's great. It's all black on my screen. Where are you at? So, stick to the major landmarks if you can. 10 miles northeast of Gillespie. Well, at least that gets me going the right direction. I can see your ADSB, hopefully. Or if I'm already talking to you, now I know at least the general direction you're going. So that really helps us out versus giving us very specific. LA is an issue because we get a lot of people, well, I'm going to go to this freeway and this intersection, this other freeway. It's like, there's 100 of those. I don't know where those are at.
So
just be as specific as you can with getting us in the right direction so we know kind of where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, for Montgomery specifically, if you're departing out of Montgomery and you want the FOSS transition, we know what you mean when you say the North practice area. The biggest difference that we encounter is just how we put it in the system and how we hand it off to SoCal. So it depends whether FOSS Tower is open or it's closed, and whether you guys are going to a destination or you're just, all you want to do is get through that Bravo between us and Black Mountain. We have it well established now within our LOA with the San Diego area at SoCal that we have specific things we put in our flight data system that tells them what you're going to do. So that's all that really matters. So North practice area is fine, or I just want to get through the Bravo northbound, up past Black Mountain. Anything like that's going to make sense to us. And so that's really the only reason we ask that question.
And for Gillespie, we have two options, flight following and practice approaches. We established two of them. The flight following doesn't give you a Bravo clearance. You're always going to get a right downwind departure if you want to go to, and we have to take you out east. There's a reason for that, because Miramar Bravo is above us, Montgomery is to the west, and they're 2,800, and there's 3 sectors that you go through. But we also, and I don't know if people know, we have VFR Prax approach that gives you Class Bravo clearance that we issue you from the ground at Gillespie. It's the same services as you would get to do. You're like, I want to do an ILS to Montgomery. You get the same services from approach control. We actually designed it to mimic the Mission Bay 2 departure and the north departure. That's why if you ever see you want a VFR Prax approach to Montgomery, we'll say turn right heading 165 because it mimics the Mission Bay 2 departure. So you get everything that you get out of it, but approach doesn't now need 3 miles of separation. They can run as many guys into Montgomery as they need. Now, what you guys also just don't know usually on the Mission Bay 2 departure, specifically IFR, is that you're getting too close to Miramar's final, and they have to protect from anybody going to Montgomery. So if you want an IFR Mission Bay 2 departure, the North Sector has to make a gap on their F fighter jets, which they're not going to do because one go around on a fighter jet is a legit emergency because they're at minimum fuel when they're doing their approach regardless. And they got to make a gap going into Montgomery. But if you do a VFR practice approach, you're going to get the same Bravo clearance. The only difference is, and you don't know this in the background, is with flight following, I just clear you for takeoff, and then you acquire, like he was saying, I hand you off. I say contact SOGA departure. With the VFR practice approach with the Bravo clearance, when I say you're cleared to the San Diego Class Bravo airspace, you don't automatically get released. I have to ask for permission because I just want to make sure that they make a gap for you into Montgomery or Palomar, but you get all the services. And I don't think you guys have that at Montgomery, the VFR, because you just go straight out to the coast. But if you want to come to Montgomery, if you want to do Prax approaches out of Gillespie, just say we want a VFR Prax approaches. You get all the same services, but you get out 100 times quicker. And if they can't take you, we know that right off the bat because it's usually no Prax approaches to anywhere in the San Diego area because of staffing or whatever it may be. But you can always ask for VFR Prax, especially in San Diego. I mean, the sunshine tax for a reason.
One of the things I didn't mention was take advantage of the airspace. The towers open up at roughly 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock, something. Mark's a little older, so he gets up a little. No, you should be open earlier, Mark. Come on. But seriously, the towers are open early. It is very consistent across our airspace that between about 7 and 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting paid very well by you guys to sit around and do a whole lot of nothing. And that's his break time. And I'm just being blunt honest with you. We're here We're there to take care of you. Take advantage of the airspace. If you're part of a flight school, if you're a CFI instructor in here that has somebody paying you that they need to get these certain approaches today, the best opportunity to do those is at 7 o'clock in the morning. If you're going up at noon on Saturday and you need 4 IFR approaches and you're mad because SoCal TRACON said full stop only at Palomar on the very first one, that's not our fault. That is not our fault. Take advantage of the airspace. We need to start to stretch out this traffic instead of putting it all right in the middle of the day where it's just overloading the system. And unfortunately, we're having to say no for safety versus efficiency.
Thanks, everybody. Come and talk to them afterwards, but appreciate everybody coming. Somebody got a standing ovation. I don't know who it was, but no, I doubt that. All right, if you guys want to chat, come up, and I don't know how long they're going to hang out, but you're welcome to come up and ask any questions, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.
Tours are available at SoCal TRACON.